very dangerous. You heard that announcement. If you're supposed to clear the flight deck unless you're working on it. They didn't announce. So everybody up here is going to be wearing a jersey. So everybody knows what everybody else is doing. Briefly, LSO is wearing a white one, and people dealing with oxygen are medical personnel. The brown jerseys are the plane captains. These are the guys, they have certain airplanes assigned to them, they make sure they're ready to fly. These are the firefighters and people that arm the bombs, put the bullets in, working with all the ammo. Any officer on the flight deck wearing yellow, and any plane directors. These are the guys that are giving the taxi. These are the worker bees. These guys are working the catapults and the arresting gear. These guys are pushing the airplanes, towing them, pushing them, whatever you need to do to get them in place. These are the shields. Now they do lots of other stuff. That's the highlight.
So the pilots wear the brown jerseys?
Pilots wear the flight suits. Oh, right. Yeah, this guy.
Is this still the case now?
Yes. Still the case now. Same colors. Okay, so we're going to go up to this blasted area. That's primary flight. These bridges are not these doors are called. The cylindrical drum there is the high intensity light. Lifting up the plate.
Why don't you actually take the planes along and essentially this guy's innovation is
Two reasons.
no
Electrical cable and a bunch of magic. It sends a signal to an airspeed gauge up there, so the air boss can see the airspeed of the airplane coming in.
Wow. So this used to be like one of those great big boop, 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 like
No,
right
no,
in
the
the
gun
air?
wasn't here. It was the
Oh.
radar fire control unit.
Oh.
Yeah, the guns were all over the place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The forward one is still there.
Oh,
we can't
okay.
we can't go up there, but it's quite a deal. All right, let's go one more ladder.
You gonna do another ladder? You guys ready for it? Okay, here we go. Oh, this is so cool. This is awesome.
Were you the last one?
hey guys the two people are coming.
Okay. right, we can't leave. All right, this is primary flight control. This is where the flight operations were implemented and controlled from for safety and for operational smoothness. Get it all going. So it's all run by the air boss. This is this chair here. He's a Navy pilot and he's a Navy commander. This is a non-flying job for him. If he's attached to ship's company, his boss is the captain of the carrier. Okay? So he's up here with a mini boss. Basically, that's a air boss in training. Sailors operating the engine, the resting gear engine control panel, and the lights, taking care of the status board. You see up here where they have the missions and the crew, what's going on. There'll be a phone talker up here, a guy with binoculars. Squadron reps for any airplanes that they have airborne. They're what the NATOPS manual for that airplane. So, some of the equipment up here first. There's the monitor that gets its feed from the camera that's in the center line of the angled deck. And you can see an A4 coming in, and the nose is right on the crosshairs. That's exactly where you want it to be. And this is the airspeed indicator that shows the airspeed of the airplane that comes off this spin 12. Okay? That's a clock, obviously. These are all wind-up clocks when you see these. There's no power to them. So they're checked every day.
What time zone do they follow?
They would be on Greenwich Mean Time. Okay? Except in navigation. Navigation, you can always find out what local time is when you can add the plus or the minus to your time zone, but they would probably have a clock in navigation that was local time also. Somebody would take care of it. Other than that, it's all Greenwich Mean Time. This is the heading of the ship. It's a compass. This gauge shows the wind speed and the wind direction. Okay? That's an escape tunnel right there. So, normal operations, there would be no grade on it and it would be closed. But that's set up for the museum. You can see that it's not very easy to get out of that. Not very easy, right?
And is the purpose of that, like if you saw something coming in?
You couldn't get out this door or hatchway. For some reason, you can't get out that way. You go this way, right? It only takes you down one deck. All right, everybody look at this picture here. This is the USS Essex. This is CV9. This is what this carrier looked like when it was built. The spaces we're standing in now were put on in 1956 with the angled deck. They didn't exist prior to that. Pry fly was right there. It was open, and it was along this. It was just outside where the captain's bridge is. Now, when you're coming in from this angle here, you can't see the airplanes because the superstructure's in your way. So that's where it moved out. So here's where we are, right here in this carrier. So we had 12 arresting gear wires and a Davis barrier. And there's our buddy, the LSO, with the paddles. Right? So he's given a pilot lineup, glide slope, and airspeed information. After you landed, they would lower this barrier, you taxi forward and park, then you'd raise it again. The reason being is if you miss these wires, you don't want to run into your own airplanes because you're not going to get airborne in that short distance. So that would stop you. Okay. So the British came up with two innovations that the Navy picked up right away. The angled deck and the Fresnel lens landing system. You can see the problems of running into your own airplanes has been eliminated. This is the foul line here. See where these guys are standing? So this guy's coming in. Once he lands, these two guys right here, they've got the green shirts on. One of them runs out and checks the wire. The other one runs out and makes sure that the wire gets off the hook of the airplane. And he'll pass them off to this guy right here who's got a yellow shirt, and he'll start getting them taxi instructions. He wants to get him across this foul line as soon as he can because the next guy is only 35 or 40 seconds behind him. Yeah.
How long is that?
How long is what?
Wait.
This distance here?
Yeah.
About 470 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. Right here. So, and we're down to 4 wires now too. because this glide slope information is really accurate, and that's what this looks like. This is the Fresnel lens glide slope information. This apparatus is just out this corner window off the port side of the ship. It's controlled by this panel here. Okay. The way it works is there's 4 amber and 1 red light right there. These are the Fresnel lenses. They're lit all at the same time, but they put out a beam like this red one. Very narrow, okay, but it's very broad. So what you want to do is you want to see this picture here, where that center light, which is the 3rd one down, is lined up with these green datum lights. They're turned on all the time. This is the correct glide slope. And what you do, you get in the beam of that light and follow that beam to the carrier. Okay. You can only see one of these at a time because they're so narrow. So you're not this appears to actually move on you, because as you start getting high, you're going to start seeing the top half of this one and the bottom half of that one up there. So it looks like it's moving. But that's the picture you want. That's the meatball. You saw Top Gun, you heard that term quite a bit. Okay. These are the wave off lights. They're red. They flash. They can be activated by this switch right here. It says wave off. And the LSO on his panel down there has a pickle switch that he can wave the airplanes off. And he's probably the guy that's going to do it. The LSO platform is at the windscreen. It looks like French doors. And the LSO platform is part of that. During the straight deck carrier days, he had paddles, and now he's just on radio communications.
Hey Tony, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry to be so confused over something so basic, but standing here, it looks like that's the bow.